Yeah, tried not to set expectations going into it, right? We felt like he did the things during the week to get him a role there going into the game. Obviously, as he gets back and going, hope to, see where that role can take him and expand on it. But for really not having a ton of work leading up to it, we were pleased with how he went out there and performed both mentally and physically. And, as he gets back into the flow of feeling the runs and just being integrated back with the group and the offensive line, we expect him to continue to develop. And as a young player, that's what you're.
The Browns saga just went from heated to downright explosive. Picture this, your offensive coordinator completely losing it because the team rolled with Joe vintage flip phone Flacco instead of Shedeur Sanders. The young quarterback everybody swears is the future. Tommy Rees blew up like a man realizing his Uber driver just took the scenic route through every red light in town. And this isn't just football anymore, it's reality TV dressed in shoulder pads. The Browns somehow turned a quarterback choice into a full-blown soap opera that nobody can turn away from.
Flacco's game, he was talking about his game overall and the outlook for this week.
Yeah, never really got into a rhythm, never got into sync with the guys, whether it was us not getting the right pre-snap look or just being off kilter, pressure, whatever it was, just never got into a rhythm. I think the quarterback position is so important to get into the flow of the game, to be able to feel confident in what you're doing while you're back there. The week before, I felt like he did get into a rhythm early. You have that long drive, you have early success, which I think is important. So as coaches, it's how do we get him into that? How do we make sure that we're being clear during the week on different things we're trying to get to pre-snap? And, because when he is in a rhythm, he'll hit a bunch in a row, and we've seen that. So
can the Cleveland Browns ever just play ball like a normal team? Of course not. They got to twist every move into a full-on circus that makes daytime soap operas look calm in comparison. And right now, running the spotlight in this football carnival is none other than Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator who looks like he's finally fed up with seeing Joe Flacco limp onto the field like he's trying out for a senior citizens flag league. All this instead of simply handing Shedeur Sanders the keys to the offense.
Are no longer wacko for Flacco. And it's only half of his fault, to be honest. This offensive line can't pass block to save their lives. Conklin out again. DeJuan Jones is not the answer at left tackle. And then he was out for a while, but this offensive line is a complete mess. And why we have not addressed the offensive line with young studs over the last couple of years is beyond me. But Flacco doesn't have.
This ain't football anymore. It's drama, it's comedy, it's tragedy all wrapped into one chaotic show. Feels like an HBO series nobody ordered, but everybody's glued to like it's the hottest binge of the year. Word is, Tommy Rees has been throwing his arms up, yelling louder than someone who just realized the drive-thru forgot their fries. And the reason's clear. Shedeur needs to play. The fans see it, the staff knows it, and even Flacco's tired knees are screaming the same truth.
TD, but also you got to understand something. The TD he threw to Cedric Tillman was his first TD, but he had 2 picks that was costly. And then the pick that he threw late in the game that potentially had a chance for them to win the game or at least set them up to get a field goal. And I've always talked about ball placement. Joe Flacco throws the ball. He threw it low and away, and it made it tough for the receiver to get his hands underneath, and the ball tipped up, and the DB got a pick. But I've always said, it's about boss.
The Browns have this strange obsession with dragging Joe Flacco out of retirement like he's their forever backup plan. Whenever the playbook runs dry, they treat him like an emergency fire extinguisher, break glass in case of quarterback disaster. Only problem? This extinguisher is sputtering, coughing out fumes, and stumbling like it's about to fall apart. Watching Flacco try to command an offense in 2025 feels like booting up a dusty Windows 98 computer and expecting it to run Call of Duty without crashing.
His offense at times under head coach Kevin Stefanski has been great. And then there's last year was absolutely abysmal. But in steps new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. And his main focus this offseason is get the Browns offense back to something that resembles the team that made the playoffs just 2 years ago.
Not letting details slip through the cracks, not letting things fall by the wayside. A lot of that's mental toughness, right? So when you talk about callousing the team and having that toughness, a lot of it's just mentally making sure that we're all up to the standard at which we want to hold ourselves to, players and coaches.
Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is stuck on the sideline, helmet strapped, probably questioning if he signed with the Browns as a player or as a spectator. He's younger, faster, hungrier, the exact kind of quarterback who could light up a fan base that hasn't felt real excitement since the dial-up days. But instead, the Browns keep rolling out Joe like it's still 2012. Tommy Rees sees the nonsense. He knows it. He's not clueless. This is a guy buried in film rooms, drawing up plays, studying defenses, crafting schemes. And what's it all worth if by Sunday, the man under center treats scrambling like a polite stroll toward the bench? Rees looks at Shedeur and sees opportunity, creativity, and maybe even redemption. The front office? They look at Flacco and just see a warm body with enough years in the league to qualify for an AARP newsletter. The irony is so thick you could spread it like butter. Cleveland fans are shouting for Shedeur as if he's the last lifeboat on the Titanic. They've had their fill of Flacco's slow windups, half-hearted passes, and those interceptions that look like they were gift-wrapped for the opponent. Cleveland isn't dumb. They're over the deja vu. They're desperate for something fresh, something electric, something that doesn't feel like reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond, except this version throws footballs.
Half of the Cleveland faith. Okay? And really, there's no, first of all, no disrespect.
Right.
But we're tired. We're tired.
Yes.
And I would just go right to it. It's straight time for a quarterback change here.
Yes, we agree on that.
There's no question, and it's no disrespect. Joe Flacco is out.
No Flacco.
He out.
No,
He out.
The shirt. What about the shirt?
Look, he had a great career. There it is. Right.
He did.
He's done what we.
But he's 40.
He's done what we've asked. But he's 40.
He's 40.
You're going nowhere with this.
And we can't skip over the comedy in all this. Picture a whole coaching staff sitting down every week, nodding along like they're analyzing deep strategy, only for someone to eventually say, "What? If we just roll with Joe again?" The room goes silent, nobody makes eye contact, and then, against every ounce of logic, they agree. That's peak Browns decision-making, like choosing gas station sushi when there's a steakhouse glowing across the street. Tommy Rees isn't wired for that kind of nonsense. He's fiery, he's competitive, and right now, he's basically babysitting a team that refuses to hand him the one toy he actually wants to play with. Imagine being tasked with designing explosive, high-powered offensive plays, only to watch your quarterback move slower than the line at the DMV. That's enough to drive any coach right over the edge. And Shedeur? He's not just another rookie stashed on the bench. He's a brand, a phenomenon, a quarterback dripping with swagger, confidence, and the kind of talent that makes you believe the impossible is actually possible. He's the double shot of espresso the Browns offense is starving for. But instead of unleashing him, the front office clings to Joe like nostalgia's worth more than winning. Did somebody up top lose a bet? Fans aren't buying it. Social media is a straight-up war zone. Timelines filled with all-caps demands for Shedeur to start. And the funniest part? Even Flacco's die-hard defenders have fallen silent. These are the same voices that once swore Joe still had veteran presence. And now, crickets?
He can't move, and they can't block. Now, run blocking, they seem to be doing okay there, because here, take a look at the stats. Judkins averaged 6 yards a carry in his first NFL game. 6 yards a carry is pretty good for a running back in the NFL. But Flacco had nothing going, running for his life. And then when he tried to make something happen, he threw that awful interception, which is his MO. I mean, what are you going to do?
Fans are hiding behind memes because seriously, how do you defend a 40-year-old tossing passes like he's lobbing laundry bags across the living room? Cleveland's always had a gift for chaos, but this is next level. This is the same franchise that turned quarterback drama into an annual holiday tradition. But this year feels different because they actually have the guy, Shedeur Sanders, the one who could flip the whole narrative, change the script, and finally make the Browns exciting for reasons beyond dysfunction. Yet somehow the team is still trying to squeeze juice out of Flacco, like pressing a dried-up orange that should have been tossed in the trash months ago. Tommy Rees has had enough, pacing, ranting, probably sketching out plays for Shedeur in his notebook, then tearing them to shreds in frustration when reminded he's not allowed to use him. It's like owning a Ferrari and being told you can only drive it in a school zone at 15 miles per hour. Sure, it technically runs, but what's the point? The Browns are missing it completely, stuck in the past while the future is sitting right there on the bench, helmet on, ready to explode. And every time Flacco trots out, you can almost hear the entire fan base groan in unison, like a broken sitcom laugh track that nobody asked for.
Also, Emmanuel Acho's an old man. Let's talk about another old man and have an uncomfortable conversation about him. Joe Flacco. He looks terrible right now, fellas.
He looks bad.
Yeah, what's the deal with
surprise,
him?
man? I hate, before you answer, I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hate when I come on this show. Because I love the show.
It's not a lot lately.
But why are we talking about Joe like y'all surprised? You surprised he's bad?
I'm not surprised.
He's only been good for like a year or two in his whole career, for real.
Shady, he won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl.
And with,
Put some respect on his name, please.
I'm just
He
being
won a
honest,
Super
bro.
Bowl.
I'm just being honest. I never thought Joe Flacco was a superstar.
And every single time Shedeur stays parked on the sideline, you can practically watch Tommy Rees lose another year off his life expectancy. Because this isn't just about raw talent, it's about energy, swagger, the spark a young quarterback brings to a locker room, a stadium, and an entire city hungry for hope. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and instead of stepping into the future, they're marching backward into the Stone Age. Rees blowing up isn't some random meltdown. It's the voice of a coach who knows he's being forced to fight with one arm tied behind his back. He sees the wreck about to happen, and he's screaming warnings while everybody else on board argues about what color the train seats should be. And the craziest part? It's peak Browns. No other franchise could twist quarterback drama into something that feels like a Shakespeare play. You've got the weary old man, the young prince waiting for his crown, and the desperate advisor yelling at the throne room about truths that everyone sees except the ones in charge. If Shakespeare ever wrote about football, this tragic comedy in Cleveland would have been his masterpiece.
Joe's job, Jay, is mentoring. That's it.
Yeah.
And
I'm the kid.
you can miss me with the other stuff. Miss me with the other stuff. It was so bad, I had to call Steve. It's like to text Steve. Steve, I'm on in. I went in today. I can't take it no more. There's no more take here. Right?
He said, I'm tired.
I can't take it no more.
He jumped off the perch.
Right. I said, I'm sitting here, and no disrespect to anybody, you can miss me with, we can't put a young player in.
Yeah.
And truthfully, Joe Flacco isn't the villain here. He's just the awkward puzzle piece that never fit. None of this is really his fault. He's still being trotted into games when, at this stage, he should probably be coaching from the sidelines or breaking down plays on a TV panel. The real comedy sits with the Browns, the one franchise that can turn the most illogical choice into something that looks like it was signed off by a committee after hours of pointless deliberation. Meanwhile, Shedeur's hype is only climbing higher. By the time he finally touches the field, fans will be expecting fireworks, miracles, maybe even something biblical. And here's the kicker, he might actually deliver. Because Shedeur isn't just hype. He's got the skills, the composure, the talent to back it all up. Tommy Rees knows it. That's why he's fuming, why he's pacing the facility, why his voice is nearly shot from meetings. He sees what Shedeur can do, but the Browns keep insisting on rerunning the Joe Show, like settling for the same soggy fast food burger while a five-star steakhouse is literally right next door.
It's Joe Flacco we talking about.
What you want him to do? Go to Dylan Gabriel? 'Cause that's the backup.
You know what they should go to.
That's the backup.
On a serious note, I would love for Shedeur to play, but I'm okay with playing a younger quarterback. If it's Dylan Gabriel,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like, let's see what the future has for us. There's no future with Joe. There's no presence with Joe. Joe bad. He was terrible last year.
How many?
Last year they benched. What's the young quarterback from the Colts?
Talking about
The young quarterback.
Anthony Richardson?
Richardson.
Yeah.
And then Joe got in there and he was god awful.
He was bad.
Cleveland fans deserve way better than this. They've sat through years of misery, heartbreak, and endless so-called rebuilds. They've earned the right to see their shiny new quarterback take the field, but instead they're being robbed, forced to sit through another rerun of Flacco and friends while the future collects dust on the sideline. And when Shedeur finally does step in, you can bet the same front office that ignored him will act like it was their genius plan all along. That's not strategy. It's damage control dressed up with clown makeup. Tommy Rees isn't just pushing for a quarterback, he's fighting for his sanity, for the chance to run an offense that actually makes sense, one led by a player who can execute his plays without tripping over his own shoelaces. He's battling for what every Browns fan already screams. Shedeur needs to play. Not tomorrow, not next week, not after another soul-crushing losing streak. Now. Because the reality is clear. Shedeur isn't just Cleveland's best option, he's their only option. Rolling with Flacco at this point is like slapping duct tape on a sinking ship. It might hold for a moment, but everyone knows that boat is still going under fast.
This was a crucial game when you look at the Browns' schedule as a whole. So it is a crushing loss, and I could see why people are already giving up hope for the rest of the season. This is the Browns' first 5 games. I thought the Bengals were going to be a win. It almost was. It should have been. Look at their next 4 opponents. They have to go at Baltimore. Then they have to play the Packers, who now have Micah Parsons and are a Super Bowl contending team. Then they have to go at Detroit, another Super Bowl contending team. And finally, they'll host the Vikings, which is maybe the only game I would give to Cleveland. But the Vikings have a good offense. And we'll see how McCarthy looks Monday night against the Bears. But there's a real possibility Cleveland starts 0-5 now because of that loss to the Bengals.
With Shedeur, at least there's a chance to stay afloat, maybe even set sail towards something real. The Browns can't keep ducking the truth anymore. The fans see it, the staff knows it, Tommy Rees definitely knows it, and deep down, even the front office realizes it's only a matter of time before reality smacks them square in the face. Put Shedeur Sanders on the field and let the man play. Until then, we're just stuck watching this awkward comedy drag on. Flacco will keep trotting out there like a relic from a bygone era while Shedeur waits, helmet on, ready for his moment. And when that moment finally arrives, Tommy Rees won't need to blow up in meetings anymore, because the kid himself will make the statement loud, clear, and undeniable. That's the Browns in a nutshell, a team that can turn the most obvious decision into something that feels like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But sooner or later, the choice will be unavoidable. Shedeur Sanders isn't just sitting back, he's destined to take over. And when he does, Cleveland might finally wake up to the truth that sometimes the only smart bet is the future itself.
Just an absolutely pathetic performance by the offense. They were disgusting. Joe Flacco was absolutely horrendous in this game. Nobody played particularly well on the offense. I thought it was good to see Judkins out there. I got high hope for the 3 rookies that have played, the 2 running backs and the tight end. Outside of that, the offensive line is old and slow. The quarterback is old and slow. The wide receivers can't hold on to the ball. It's just all kinds of ugly. And you know what? I'm sick. I'm not ready to, fire anybody after 2 weeks. That's just silly. But I'm sick of, there's no more passes. I don't want to hear that, like, no matter how bad the Browns.
And here's the kicker. When Shedeur finally steps onto that field, it won't just be another football game. It's going to feel like a city-wide parade. Fans will erupt like Cleveland just won free gas for life. Cameras will zoom in, commentators will lose their voices, and suddenly all those painful memories of Flacco sailing passes 10 yards over receivers' heads will fade away like a bad dream. Because when Shedeur launches that first touchdown bomb, the front office will scramble to act like it was their genius plan all along. But everybody will know the truth. It was Rees, it was the fans, it was obvious from day one. Cleveland isn't just ready, they're desperate. And Shedeur Sanders isn't just waiting, he's inevitable. The Browns can delay, they can resist, they can play the nostalgia card all they want, but the future has already arrived. And when it finally explodes onto the field, the only question left will be, why in the world did it take this long? And so let's hear it. Say what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this with other fans, and subscribe for more.